Hello, good people. I'm Martin Bustos of 11 Project.
I'm Tony Sager of 11 Project.
Yeah!
Who hasn't uploaded shit in a week.
I know, dude. I uploaded something that got nothing views, man. Nobody likes Jeff the Killer, I guess.
Walking backwards. So, Martin, today, tell the viewers what we're going to be talking about.
I believe we're going to be talking about John Titor. If you ever heard of John Titor, well, you're going to hear the fucking story.
Alright, so, for the guys or girls or whatever you guys are who haven't heard about the story of John Titor, he is a real life time traveler. Now, I'm going to go bust through the door like it's out. And anyways, so, let me go this way. Okay, so, if you guys haven't heard about John Titor, basically he's a real life time traveler. Now, there's a lot of controversy on the story, and basically the real controversy is, okay, time travelers, are they real or are they fake? Is time travel possible? And even if it's not real or if it's not fake, what does this mean? So, I'm gonna take you guys into basically the whole story of John Titor. Alright, so this guy named John Titor, he posted on these forums starting in November of 2000 to March of 2001 saying he was a time traveler from the year 2036. Now, when you hear that, you're like, what the fuck? This guy's on crack, right? Okay. Well, listen to this. This guy says he's from the American military, and his military unit in 2036 had a mission to travel back from 2036 to the year 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 personal computer. Now, these were one of the first personal computers ever invented, and everyone knows that the IBM company was like the first major producer of the personal computers, following Microsoft and Apple, so on. What was I gonna say? So, anyways, John Titor's mission into the past, the reason for it was he needed this IBM 5100 because it can connect to all mainframe computers and it can pretty much fix them. So like, if there was something wrong inside of the code, they could basically be reprogrammed with using the technology that this IBM secretly had. Now, IBM didn't want to release this information out to the public back when the computer first came out, because then if they did that, then people would know how to fix their own computers at home, and IBM would lose money for repairing computers. So, John Titor knew how this thing worked, and apparently what he did is he brought the thing back to his own time. But why was he in the year 2000 and 2001? Well, the speculation for that is that he might have messed something up in the past when he went to 1975. And the most widely accepted speculation of that, if he's really a time traveler, is that he stopped Y2K from happening. Now, if you guys don't know what Y2K is, it means the year 2000. And the year 2000 problem was basically a small error within computers where instead of the date being 4 numbers, it would be 2 numbers. So when the year would turn 2000, the computer would not go as 2000, it would go January 1st, 1900. So, basically with that is that if all computers did that, they would all malfunction, airports would be shut down, everything that used the computer in the years 2000 and previous would be all messed up, and basically the world as we know it technologically would end. So basically the year 2000 was supposed to be the end of the world. Now, why didn't it happen? Well, apparently it was supposed to happen for us, but somehow, somewhere, some scientists found out that how to fix the bug, the Y2K bug, in the computers, starting in the 1960s, and through the 1980s and 90s, because once they found out in the 90s this would be a major problem. So somehow they all got this technology putting into all these computers, and nothing really happened when the year 2000 hit. So I guess how you could say, theory for this is John Titor somehow stopped Y2K for us, like from happening at all. And we don't know how he did it, but apparently that was supposed to happen. Now, John Titor, in his forum posts, he talked about, he just answered any questions that people would have for him as being a time traveler. And he said he had 3 rules. One of the rules was he wouldn't allow anyone to profit off of his answers. He wouldn't tell any sports statistics or anything like that of the future. His second rule was he wouldn't talk about death from probability. And what death from probability is he basically said he wouldn't talk about natural disasters or anything that could affect people's lives that were supposed to die.
Although he did predict 9/11.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. And his third rule was that he wouldn't, I actually forgot his third rule. Do you remember what it was, Martin?
I don't. He wouldn't talk about certain people.
Yeah, he wouldn't talk about specific people. So if you asked him how long you were going to live or something, or who would be the president in 2009, he wouldn't tell you would die in 2090, or he wouldn't say it was Obama. So he wouldn't do any of that. Martin, is there anything that you want to like talk about or?
No.
All right. Well, anyways, so this guy named John Titor, we don't know if he's a real time traveler, but he touched on the theory of time travel, and he said, well, hey, I know about how this machine works, but if you meet an airline pilot, it's going to be a really unlikely chance that he's also an aerospace engineer. So basically, he knew how his time machine worked, but he didn't know, like, if you ask certain things about, like, how you built it, he wouldn't know that. But basically, he said it was a machine that could manipulate these black holes, these special black holes. They're called Kerr black holes because the guy who originally discovered them, his last name was Kerr. I forgot what his first name was. But anyways, this machine could manipulate these black holes with a gravitational field, so that when they spin and then he goes inside, he goes to a different time. But here's the thing with time travel. Now, the way John Titor described it was that time travel is not going into your own time, but you're going back to your time in a separate dimension that might be a few % off. So, like, let's say you go from our year 2012 to 2000. You're going to the year 2000 and you're going to a dimension that is probably like 1 or 2% off. So, like, in our dimension, like, let's say light bulbs were invented in 1878. If you go back to the year 2000 in another dimension, it might have been invented in 1877. So, little things, but basically everything else would look the same. Now, these are different dimensions, not different universes. They're just parallel dimensions to ours, and they pretty much like look the same and everything. And basically he said that time travel was going to be invented in 2034, 2 years before his time, and the first real working time machine was going to be the General Electric's model C204, and it was just a C204 temporal displacement unit, which means it was basically a time machine, and it was manufactured by GE, General Electric Company. And everyone knows General Electric. They make TVs, radios, refrigerators, all that crap. And so he also put online pictures of his time machine. He put a page from the instruction manual, a 3D cutaway of the actual machine, and if you look at it, it does look like a legitimate time machine. And everyone's trying to find out what it is. There's actually like a reward on it to find out what it is. It's like $500 or something if you could figure out what the hell this thing was. Some people thought that it was like a nuclear radiation detection system, and some other people thought like it may have been a like army radio or something.
First off, if I were to find out how a time machine works, I wouldn't fucking give it away for $500. You're tripping.
Yeah.
If I were to ever give it away, I'd make a demand to be the richest man alive. For sure.
So
continue.
Anyways, so John Titor did legitimately seem like a time traveler. He had all these good points. He referenced to 9/11 in 1998. He sent a fax to this person. I'm not sure who it was, but in 1998 he talked about that there was a skyscraper missing from New York. Now, this was 3 years before 9/11 happened, and the reason why he didn't say 2 skyscrapers is probably because by 2036 that huge skyscraper in Manhattan that's being built right now, called the Freedom Tower, in place of the Twin Towers that fell that day, was already there. So instead of two skyscrapers missing, Freedom Tower replaced one of them. And that was 3 years before 9/11. He referenced this, and people didn't believe it at all at first. And then 9/11 came, and then they're like, wait a minute, this guy might actually have some like legit pointers, and like we should listen to this guy. Now, many people didn't. However, there's lots of people studying John Titor. I know probably the most intelligent guy about the subject. His name is Oliver Williams, and he knows everything about John Titor. He started looking at John Titor's posts in the fall of 2002, and he still looks at them today. I'm pretty sure. He knows all the good points, all the facts about John Titor. He's even made this website. It's called johntitor.com, and basically he posts all of John Titor's forum like posts and questions and stuff.
There should be a link in the description on johntitor.com.
Yeah. He posted all this John Titor stuff, and he also he posted news referencing to what John Titor said. So if there was anything in the news referencing to what he said that was legit, then it would show up on that website. And Oliver Williams is actually a really good reference, because I'm getting most of my information from what this man said. And wow, from the way he describes it, it's actually pretty legitimate. And yeah, he's a really intelligent man. And yeah, now the only thing about John Titor coming here is when he referenced to 9/11, not exactly referencing to it, but he said that there was a skyscraper missing. There's also other things that he predicted that came out true later. One of the things was CERN. If you guys haven't heard of CERN, I think it's in Sweden. It's like a scientific factory or something like that, and they're working on time travel, I believe. And he said that right after he left, in I think it was April of 2001, they would announce that they were starting a plot to make time travel possible. And right almost on the same date that he said it would happen, it happened. So people started looking at these things legitimately. But there's also things that didn't come true. Like, he said that, for instance, America would be in a civil war starting in 2005, and it would end in 2010. But the actual shooting wouldn't start until 2008. And he also said that in 2011, there would be a world war, a nuclear world war. And it wasn't like nuclear, like blowing up everything. It was tactical nuclear strikes, but these new kinds of weapons. I think we have some today, actually. And this started in 2011 and ended in 2015. So basically, we were rocked to hell by 2 wars. Now, the only reason that this hasn't happened is if John Titor is a real time traveler, and the speculations are right, then we think if he really changed Y2K from not happening to us, then these wars never happened either. So basically, he is now on a far dimension from us. He used to be on the same dimension, but we might be living on a timeline that's been altered by a time traveler. Is there anything you want to add, Martin?
Sexy.